All right, so this is a friend of mine. His name is Sahel, and he quit his corporate job in consulting to try and make money on the internet. In month 1, he quit his job. In month 2, he made his first $1 online. By month 4, he'd hit his original goal of $10,000 a month. In month 8, he was up to $30,000 a month. And now just 2 years after quitting his job, he is making $90,000 a month, which is $1.1 million in annual recurring revenue.
This is exciting, but I don't want you to be excited. I want you to grab a pen and paper and a notepad and start writing just like me. It was at 30K per month in just 8 months. This video is for those who have a 9 to 5 day job and you think you have only 2 to 3 hours per day to maybe try a side hustle, but you always find it hard. I have already done my analysis, my homework before I started this video, so you can have a transparent, clear picture in front of you how fast you can start your own journey.
Your life changed now that you're rich.
Would not say I'm rich.
Bruv, you're making 90K a month. Like, in what world is that not rich?
Okay, so there's definitely an element of...
In this case study, we're going to break down Sahel's entire journey into the 12 steps that he followed to start making money online as a complete beginner to now becoming insanely rich as a result. We're going to talk about his idea generation process, how he narrowed down his business ideas to land on the one that he was going to go for, how he built it with very little coding knowledge, how he found his first users, how he got to that coveted goal of $10,000 a month, and how he grew from $10,000 all the way to $90,000 a month.
When I quit my job to start this, my goal at the time was, if I could only just get to 10K a month in monthly recurring revenue, that's like more than enough to be here. Is honestly I did not even think we would get this far. It's kind of unbelievable.
So if you are interested in potentially quitting your job and getting the sort of financial freedom that lets you literally travel the world, kind of working from your laptop, which is what Sahel is doing at the moment, then hopefully there's going to be a lot to learn from this video.
Amazing. We know money is a byproduct of giving first. And that's why we make these videos every single day. And we make them as valuable as possible so you get inspired and inshallah you get results. If one person get results, one person get inspired, we will consider ourselves, our effort as successful. But we cannot do it without your help. We need you to engage in this video, like this video, ask questions in the comments, share with your friends and family, and important, subscribe to our channel. If you engage, then YouTube will consider our content as important content and they will share with more and more people, and inshallah more and more people will get the benefit. And if that happens, you will also be the part of the blessings. So go ahead, like, share with your friends and family, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, make sure you switch on the notification bell button and ask your friends and family and social media contacts to subscribe as well. We have a goal of getting 10,000 subscribers in next 30 days. And we cannot do it without your help. I'll give you a second to take action. Done? Let's go. Obviously, this type of information cannot be short, cannot be small. So this is a 2 hours, 40 minutes long video. Should I say 2 hours, 40 minutes short video. And if you want to enjoy, like watching a movie, I would highly recommend you go watch it because Ali Abdal is a specialist of making simple videos amazing. But if you just want to pick the most important information so you can decide whether it's worth watching and worth trying, then watch my video first. Quick advertisement at any point if you think you need a 99% done for you program. Because to be honest, none of the programs, none of the systems, none of the planets in the universe is easy or simple. Just like school, because there is a school, there is an establishment, there are teachers, there are curriculums. We could continue studying for 10, 12, 16, 17 years. And after that, we got into a 9 to 5. If that is the case, you can imagine how much time, money, and effort it could take to build your own business, especially online business that can potentially replace your day job. It's a lot of learning and a lot of work. And if this lot of learning and a lot of work is taken care of an expert team, 99% done for you, then it is much simpler and easier. If you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend go to moshbari.com or scan the QR code or click the link in the description or click the link in the bio, depending on where you're watching this video from, and watch this free training video. This training video is completely free to watch. There are 2 parts in this video. First part shows you how we run an AI-powered automated digital marketing business and how we help help busy 9-to-5ers, busy parents just like yourself earn passive affiliate commissions like this. $300, $450, $500, $650, tons of $500 again, $947 in passive affiliate commission per sale. From just one video, you can clearly understand what the business model is, how it works, and how you can take advantage of this 99% done for you system. And after watching this video, if you have any question, feel free to DM me on Instagram, reach out to me on Facebook, and I will be more than happy to answer all your questions. We'll see you in the training.
Alrighty, so I want to start off by telling you a little bit of the backstory of how Sahil and I got to know each other. If you don't care, that's totally fine.
Well, yeah, it's not important. Sahil met Ali Abdal at Cambridge University in 2012. Sahil is from Pakistan, studied engineering, and Ali Abdal studied medicine. What is he doing on YouTube? He had music and had dreams to start a business someday. But here's a big fat but. Life sucks. Sahil had to stay at his consulting job for 5 years to get a UK permanent residency. Now, generally, we hate jobs. This is where the stupidity starts. The stupidity is not hating and not jobbing. The stupidity is taking the job as your final destination. Because the job is not your final destination. It's a journey. You may love it or you may hate it, but a job is a training. It's not a destination. Job gives you opportunity to networking and get paid to learn. When you get a job, this is the first time in your life you get paid to learn. So after 5 years of jobbing, training, networking, he finally quit his job the day he got residency. That's okay because he already spent 5 years.
Alright, so over a 5-year period of working in corporate consulting, Sahil is saving some percentage of his paycheck each month, and he's building up his buffer of savings. And this is a somewhat this way looking graph, because when he's in his first 2 years, he's not earning very much, but then there's a big salary jump at 3, 4, and 5 years. And so eventually he gets his savings to the point where he's got enough to cover a year worth of expenses.
This is a very good point. If you can save at least 2 years of expense, then you can start thinking about quitting your job and live off of your savings until you start another income stream.
At this point, 5 years in, he quits his job, so he no longer has any income, and now he has to eat into his savings. If you keep your lifestyle costs low, then those savings can last you a certain amount of time. But for some people, the lifestyle costs are very high, and so that savings don't last very long. And then everyone has a sort of kind of threshold where they're like, oh shit, if my savings get below this threshold, that is too much for me at that point. And then what I have to do is go back and find another job, go back to corporate, whatever the situation might be. Now, there's a couple of things to flag here, which is basically how high up this line is, and also the gradient of your burn. These are the two things that basically determine your runway, which is basically how much time can you give yourself to work on your business to try and get it off the ground before you either run out of money or before your savings that you're eating into dip below your threshold of comfortableness.
That's it. Think about it, but I guess you don't have this problem. So this is not quite relevant for the video, but everyone should have this mindset. So this is a good advice.
And we've kind of said yeah, Sahil, this music thing, it's kind of hard to make money as a musician. What about we think of something else? And so then Sahil said to me, okay, Ali, you've quit your job to build this business and you're making millions kind of thing. What would you do if you were in my shoes? And I said to him, look, I don't know, but I have some reading for you to do. You should just read these 3 books. And I gave him 3 book recommendations. The 3 books were books I've talked about on the channel repeatedly. Firstly, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, incredible book. Secondly, 100.
Well, I don't have that book, so I'm going to download it on Audible right now before I forget. Oh, I already have it. Nice. I can just press play and start listening. And gonna do that after this video.
$100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi.
Absolutely. That's another book I love the most.
Incredible book. And thirdly, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. Absolutely incredible book.
And I have .com Secrets as well. You should absolutely have them.
We discussed learning from the best in this world of entrepreneurship, and you gave me some book suggestions to go and do my homework on before I commit to this life of a music career, right? And I think 2 good recommendations from that. So there was The Millionaire Fastlane, and that one really changed my life. And the second one was $100 Million Offers. Nice.
Got one right there. You can hold these up. it's like we planned this, but that was actually complete coincidence.
Nice. Yeah, so the first one was The Millionaire Fastlane, and that was kind of a big mindset change because it really puts into perspective, most people are in this kind of slow growth lane where you're developing your wealth over 40-year, 50-year career. And that's not really the way people get rich. And the second one was $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. And that one is all about, how do you find the right market to build a product in? How do
Your Grand Slam offer.
you market that offer that you come up with? And that really helped me think about, what kind of project I should be working on. So yeah, I think those two really brought a mindset.
And he used $100 million offer ideas the right way, and let me show you.
People who try and make money, because he has actually followed step number 2 to actually do the reading. And so finally, he's ready to actually launch his business after all of this prep work. And that brings us on to step number 3, which is make a problem list.
Yeah, so at this time where I just quit my job and after a few weeks I was itching to get working on something, I literally had a long list of dozens of ideas that could work out. And a lot of them had to do with my consulting background and kind of what problems I'd seen there with.
That's what I was talking about. When I was saying job is a training and networking and get paid to learn, his 5 years in the job helped him think about problems related to the job.
With clients that we've worked with, and some of them have to do with, software projects that I could work on. And if you have a list of like 50 ideas, you need some kind of framework to figure out what is the right first idea to work on. And I used this book to cut that list, short list down to 6 ideas.
Yeah, he's talking about $100 million offer by Alex Hormozi.
And the idea was that I would take this year out from work and I would do 2 months of work on each idea and kind of go down the list and if it doesn't work after 2 months, then it's probably not going to work, or, it doesn't need to be making revenue, but just show some promise after the 2-month mark. And if it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way. In his case, he already worked for 5 years, so he knows how the world works. He wouldn't just quit after 2 months. It's basically a symptom that it's going to work or not, whether I'm making any progress or not. Because a lot of times you may not get any results in just 2 months. Think about it. You spend 12 years to maybe 17 years in this school just to get to your 9 to 5 after 17 years. What do you expect in 2 months? Zero. When you leverage your 5 years job experience, training, networking, then you are already in the field. So another 2 months is basically 5 years and 2 months. So at that point in this situation, you can think about seeing some moving parts towards success.
Doesn't work out by then, just move on to the next one. And this book really helped me figure out what those 6 ideas were.
Interestingly, there is something Alex Hormozi said in the $100 million offer book. He said, if you make 100 offers, you will definitely hit 1 Grand Slam offer. He also mentioned that most people don't make any. So just watching this video or my video and seeing me writing on my board won't make you money. You have to do it yourself. By the way, if you think you can't do it yourself, which is totally okay because you have a 9 to 5, you have a busy job, a busy life. Everybody needs help. Just like Sahel got help of Ali, you can take our help by going to this website, watching this training, and if you think our 99% done for you program is the best of the best program for you, then ask me questions on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to help you out.
And this whole idea of like trying out a few ideas over a year, it's kind of inspired by one of the indie hacker people I follow. Is called Peter Levels, and his whole shtick is that he picked out 12 things to do in a year. I think.
Looking at Sahel's problems list, quite a lot of these businesses seem kind of boring, like, helping corporations slightly do better with their onboarding process. Or I'm going to build a tool that lets hybrid workers see when people are in the office or when they're not in the office, or things like that. But my point is, you don't have to be thinking of sexy and original ideas when it comes to creating your problems list. It's totally okay to pick problems that are really, really boring. In fact, just pick all the problems you see in your day-to-day life, regardless of how fun or sexy or boring or exciting they are, and just stick them on your problems list. But now that we have this problems list, where do we go next? And that comes to step number 4, which is to narrow down. And we are narrowing down to our best ideas.
The framework I used from the $100 million offers is basically 4 things. One is the problem needs to be painful if it's not solved. Second is people you're targeting need to have the purchasing power to afford it. Like you can't sell a very expensive product to students, for example, because they're not going to spend thousands of dollars on something. They need to be easy to target, meaning you have access to them in some way. Like either it's like a local thing around your community that you're selling to, or you have some means of distribution to the users. Finally, it should be a growing market because you don't want to be facing the headwind of, yes, you're growing your business over time and you're putting more money into ads and growing the team, but the market itself is like newspapers or something where it's shrinking and you're kind of constantly battling with the market. So that was the framework. And
while watching the video, I took notes. Did you take notes? It has to be a huge problem or huge pain, and the people should have purchase power, and they should be easy to reach, and it has to be a growing market. I'll give you an example. People know about it, they have purchasing power, it's easy to target, and it's a growing market, but I'm not sure about the pain. Can you imagine something that a lot of people want, they have purchasing power, easy to target, and growing market? I'll tell you, AI. So what is the pain? Pain is confusion, lack of education, fear of missing out. People 9 to 5 and they have purchasing power, easy to target, they are all on LinkedIn, and it is an absolutely growing market. It's a thriving market.
The consulting mindset of having this framework and rating the ideas on each of those 4 things, and the stuff that bubbled to the top was typically things where the users were easy to target,
Like this one.
Firecut, where we had the kind of distribution into it. But the other ideas, I think, were also quite reasonable, like things like anything to do with consulting or productizing consulting for small businesses.
So he doesn't have to sell a physical product. It is completely digital.
Was also quite high up in the list because
Also, when it comes to consulting, it came from his experience of spending 5 years in consulting job.
I'd been a consultant, I worked with these clients in the past, and I knew how they think and
That is what networking is about. This is networking.
how to reach out to them. So that was also kind of a tick in the easy to target segment.
All right, so Sahel had these like 54 or something problems on the list and narrowed it down to the top 6. The 6th best idea was around a problem that Sahel himself was having, which is that he'd quit his job, he was working remotely from his laptop, and he found that it was annoying to try and find cafes that had good Wi-Fi, good plug points, and they were laptop friendly. And so he thought, why don't I build an app or a website that's sort of like a directory of like local cafes that are laptop friendly, so that if people like me want to go on a laptop in a local cafe, they can just go on the directory and they can find cafes with like plug points and Wi-Fi and stuff. Question, is this a very painful problem? Not really. It's not that painful.
It's not painful.
Does
yes.
the target market have money to spend? Honestly, not really. If
Not
someone
really.
is like really scrambling to find a cafe to work from their laptop, they probably don't have a co-working space membership. So they're probably like poorer than someone who has
Yes, absolutely.
a co-working space membership. So like, they probably don't have that much money to spend on this sort of thing. Are they easy to target? How would Sahel target this market of people who are trying to work from laptops? Kind of hard. Doesn't seem like an obvious easy way to target them, so it's like not really. And is it a growing market? Yes, it is a growing market because there's a growing market of people who want to work remotely from laptops and cafes and stuff. Sahel's 5th bet.
Now it's very, very nice. Nicely elaborated. Thank you so much, Ali. This was beautiful, wasn't it? We want to continue watching Ali filling up this table because there is a lot to learn from here and a lot to practice from here.
Best idea from this problem list of 54 things was trying to solve the problem of keeping in touch with friends. The problem he realized was a problem that he himself was having, which is that, hey, once you graduate university, it's kind of annoying to keep in touch with friends and you have to WhatsApp back and forth to arrange like meetups and times and things. So could we build an app that makes it easier for you to keep in touch with friends? The whole idea is that maybe you could invite a friend to the app and you can propose an activity like squash or board games or like going to a cafe or a restaurant, and then it sort of automatically figures out people's availability and automatically sends out the calendar invites. So building an app to keep in touch with your friends, is this a painful problem? Is it really painful? Is it really painful that it's really annoying to organize kind of social events with your friends? Not really. Maybe. Let's give it a sort of middling line. Do the people have money to pay for that problem? Well,
I don't think
Well,
so.
it kind of depends who the target is. If the app is trying to target really rich people, like it's an elite version of keeping in touch with your friends, then maybe. But for the most part, most people don't have very much money to spend on apps.
Yes.
And so this does not seem like the sort of thing that people would be willing to pay for. So we're going to give it an X over there. Is it easy to target people who want an app to keep in touch with their friends? Would Sahel easily be able to target those people? Not really. And is it a growing market of people who want to keep in touch with their friends? Yeah, I'd say probably. As the world becomes more and more remote,
Should be
people
blue color,
sort of
somewhere in the middle.
want better ways to keep in touch with friends. Maybe let's call it a growing market. All right, business idea number 4 is also an app. Interesting how many apps are showing up on this list. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. But basically a better version of Meetup.com. The problem that Sahel was experiencing in his own life is that when he was traveling to new cities, it was hard to make friends. And so there is an existing website, Meetup.com, that seems to be quite popular, but he felt like the interface wasn't great and it didn't have that many features that he wanted. And so he thought, maybe I could build my own version of this. Is this a painful problem? Is loneliness because you don't have any friends in a new city a painful problem? I would say yes, it actually is a pretty painful problem because loneliness is, Is not nice. Do people who move to a new city have the money to pay the purchasing power to solve the loneliness problem?
I don't think
I'm going
so.
to say maybe. Generally, if someone moves to a new city, they at least have the funds to have moved to the new city. So maybe there's something in terms of purchasing
Are they going to
power there.
spend money
Not
on
really
the app?
Does Sahel have an easy way to target people who have moved to new cities who want a way to find friends? Again, not really. It's really hard to target these people. And is this a growing market? Are there more people moving to new cities and trying to make friends, or less people moving to new cities and trying to make friends? I would say it's a growing market. There are definitely more people, like globalization, people traveling around all over the place. Cool. That was his fourth best idea, and if you have experience in business at this point, you would probably look at all three of these ideas and think they're pretty trash. That's okay. Let's move on to the top three list. Now, this is where the business ideas actually become interesting and sort of kind of good at this point. Sahel's third best business idea that he came up with after narrowing it down was doing some sort of workshops for corporate professionals to teach them how to be productive. The problem he identified is a problem that he noticed while he was working in consulting. So Sahel worked at a fancy consulting firm, and they gave him and all of their new starters like a whole efficiency toolkit about how to be productive, how to be efficient as a knowledge worker, as a consultant, as a professional. But when these management consultants would do projects going into other big businesses, from what I hear, one thing they often found was that, hey, in loads of these other big businesses, the professionals working there don't seem to know what they're doing in terms of basic productivity and basic efficiency. And so he found by talking to some of these big companies that they didn't really have an onboarding kind of productivity training course for their new hires. And therefore the new hires were wasting a lot of time doing stuff in an inefficient way rather than an efficient way. Now the question is this a painful problem? Is it a painful problem for a business that their employees are not very productive? I would say yes, there is a pain there in that market. Do businesses have the purchasing power willing to train their workers to be more productive? Well, yes, businesses have a lot of money, especially big businesses. Can Sahel easily target large businesses who would hire him to run corporate professional productivity workshops? I'm going to say sort of. Through his own network and through his own LinkedIn and through the projects that he did, he has some of these contacts. And is it a growing market? Are there increasingly more businesses wanting corporate professional productivity workshops? Well, if you include AI skills in that, I would say yes, it's a growing market because all businesses want to train their workers on being more productive using AI. But in a way, it's a shrinking market because businesses are downsizing. So, it's a bit of a shrug emoji on the growing market question. All right, next we come to Sahel's second best business idea, which was a sort of consulting package for small and medium businesses service. Productized service type thing. Basically, his thesis from having worked in consulting was that, hey, there are all these massive businesses who are hiring these strategy consulting firms to help them cut costs and make more money. But small and medium-sized businesses don't have the funds to be able to afford them big management consulting companies. So why doesn't Sahel set up his own mini consulting shop, and he'd be able to provide consulting for small and medium businesses to help them cut costs and increase revenue and therefore make more money? So the question is this a painful problem? So the problem there is that a business has a problem in that they want to make more money. And so this is a solution to the make more money problem for businesses. Generally, if you can help someone make more money, you are, green. You're ticking the box of this being a painful problem for them to solve, especially if they're worried that they're not making enough money, which is literally every business in the world. Do these businesses have the ability to pay for a service that makes them more money? Yeah. Broadly, probably. One of the issues with the bottom three ideas is that they are all consumer products, and consumers generally don't have much money to pay for stuff. But generally, businesses have loads of money to be able to pay for stuff, at least compared to consumers. So generally, as a beginner, targeting businesses for a product with a product rather than targeting normal people, most people would say and I would agree, is generally an easier way to go about it. Would it be easy for Sahel to target this particular market? I would say the answer is yes, because based on the various different contacts he made in his 5 years of working in consulting, he knows enough small and medium-sized enterprises, small and medium-sized businesses to be able to pitch this as a service to. And because this would be a service, it would probably be in the thousands of dollars a month kind of range. And therefore he doesn't need that many customers, maybe 5 a month, in order to get to his 10,000 a month goal. So I would say yes, these are easy to target. And is it a growing market? Are there a growing number of small and medium-sized businesses who want to make more money? I would say yes, because it seems like thanks to internet and AI and stuff, more people are able to start small and medium businesses. So we can call that a growing market. So
wow, he got 4 ticks. It looks like a perfect business model. I want to finish the full table.
This is ticking all of the boxes so far. Now, these bottom three ideas I think are pretty bad. I don't think Sahel could have made $1 million business with either of these bottom three ideas. I think it's sort of, in a way, he was trying to solve his own problem. He was like, man, I get annoyed because I have to get a laptop, but I can't co-work on my laptop in certain cafes.
One day, Sahel was in London and Ali messaged him
from his laptop, and I messaged him being like, hey, come join us and we work because the whole team is here. And because Sahel was in the mode of trying to find business ideas, and so with literally everyone he was meeting, he was asking them, hey, what are the sorts of problems you're experiencing in your work and in your personal life? And so over lunch, he was having a chat with Saf, who's one of my team members, who at the time was one of our video editors. And he was asking Saf, hey, in your day job, in your day-to-day, what are the sorts of problems you come up against? And what Saf said, like, oh man, the most annoying thing about video editing is that it takes so much time. And
Okay, that was the beginning story.
So I've edited videos in the past with Premiere because I used to have my like music YouTube channel where I was making covers, and yeah, I have very few subscribers on those. I was familiar with video editing a little bit at least. And then I think I was hanging out with your team in a WeWork one day where we were talking about, how could we use the latest advances in AI and solve this problem with video editing, which is that it's quite a laborious process. And, you would think of video editing as like a creative piece of work, but if you're spending 10 hours on a video, typically just a couple hours of those will be actual, like, exciting, creative work. A lot of it is just cutting out boring parts or, things that are not interesting. So I think I figured out it was a pain by speaking with your team. And that's kind of where it came from.
So what did he do?
which was some sort of app that helped video editors save time in their video editing process using AI. All right, so let's run this through the process. Is this a painful problem? Yes, it is a painful problem because video editors are spending hours and hours and hours of their time each week doing boring, manual, repetitive stuff, which they really don't enjoy doing and which their employers really don't want to have to pay them to continue doing because it's like an annoying part of their job. So this is a painful problem. Generally, being able to make someone money solves a painful problem, and also generally being able to save someone's time. Like, people wasting time is a very painful problem that they all. Do video editors or people hiring video editors have the ability to pay for saving time? This is where it's like, maybe, because there are lots of amateur video editors who are just doing it as a hobby who don't have the ability to pay for it. This is the sort of like people using things like CapCut. But there are also a lot of professional video editors out there. Like, for example, there are 10 million something users of Adobe Premiere Pro. That is professional grade software, which professionals for the most part pay for rather than amateurs. Most amateurs these days will edit things like CapCut or in like iMovie or whatever. But if you're using Premiere Pro, which was kind of the app
We use CapCut. Ali, you calling me amateur?
that Sahel landed on, it's like, maybe, like people do have the power to pay for that. And especially if it is something that saves someone a lot of time in their job, there is a high willingness to pay for the thing. Is this a growing market? Will there be more people who want videos edited 5 years from now than there are today?
But there will be more AI-powered users anyway.
The answer is most likely yes, because video keeps on growing across all of the metrics, across all the platforms. More and more people every single year wanting to become creators. Maybe there's a risk that AI will eat the job of video editors, but given that Sahel is building an app for AI video editing, like, he's either riding the wave of more people trying to edit videos, or he's riding the wave of more people trying to replace video editors with AI. Either way, this is definitely a growing market. And finally, how easy would it be for Sahel to target video editors? Now, this is where he had one of his unfair advantages, which is that he spoke to my team, where I literally employ 3 full-time video editors.
Now, here is what things get interesting. Knowing Ali Abdaal has multiple advantages. Number 1 is his business ideas and consultancies. Number 2, he has a team. And number 3, which is the biggest, he has audience that could be potential customers.
And so by talking to them and saying, hey, I can build a tool for you to help you save time, immediately he's got his first 3 users because my video editors are like, oh my God, that's sick. And then secondly, he and I had a conversation where he was like, hey, if I build this tool for your video editors and they get a lot of value out of the tool, would you potentially be open to partnering on this and like sharing it with your audience? And so at this point, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, if you build something that helps our 3 full-time video editors save many, many hours each week, and I know I have a bunch of video editors and like video creators in my audience, then sure, let's do some sort of partnership where I can be your distribution engine and I can get the word out initially to get your first kind of round of beta users. And
All right, that's it. That was enough for us. Because for us, the biggest problem always is the audience. That's why we make content. That's why we advertise. And ask anyone who tried any sort of internet marketing. They would say the biggest problem is traffic. The reason I showed a lot of this video while Ali already explained everything, I went ahead and explained more is because I wanted to explain you that traffic is not the biggest problem ever. This is what people think is the biggest problem. Because you see, you may not know an influencer today, but it's pretty easy to find someone who has a lot of audience, customers, followers. Most importantly, you heard this last line. If an influencer, a person with a lot of followers, finds something useful, they would love to partner with you. So from now on, instead of traffic or audience, think some sort of partnership. In fact, for anything like ideas, team, or offer, you can always find partners. So instead of thinking that you are going to become a millionaire yourself, think about how we can grow together as a team. Superman, Batman, all those Marvel characters, they work alone because they are the heroes of the movies. But do you remember Justice League? Do you remember Avengers? Despite all their individual characters being hero, they teamed up to fight a bigger villain that they potentially can't handle solo. So think about partnership, think about joint ventures. You'll find your business ideas faster, you'll be able to execute faster, and you'll potentially take your business to profit faster. Go watch this video if you want. If you want to start fast, start from here, moshbari.com, or scan this QR code, or click the link in the description, or find the link in the bio, wherever you're watching this video from, and make sure you watch this training. And maybe my 99% Done For You program could be the best of the best first business idea that could potentially make you tons of money and eventually find your own someday. See you in the training. Until next time, for more money videos, watch these ones, and we will see you on the next one.